So, without no further ado, I'd love to invite Emma Jones to the stage. Emma is an author of books including Spare Room Startup. So if there's anyone who can just give you some thoughts as to how to begin your business and your startup, I think Emma is the one. So Emma, welcome to the stage.
Catherine, thank you very much. Lovely to be here. I only just got here, which I'll mention in a moment as to why and where I've been this morning. But I got here in time to hear the post-lunch announcement, or the kind of please bring you into the room announcement, where the lady said, I hope you are all refilled. And as she said it, I thought I'd really like to start with the question, I hope you're all feeling fulfilled today. So I hope you've had a really good session this morning. Happy Global Entrepreneurship Week. But also happy Startup Day. So I don't know if you knew that it's Startup Day today. Did anyone know it was Startup Day? Good. Was that a yes or was that a no? Okay, well now you know. So Catherine mentioned I run a business called Enterprise Nation, which helps people start and grow their own business, but I'm also co-founder of a campaign called Startup Britain. So Startup Britain, where I've been this morning, is at the British Library. Parked up in their piazza, which if you know the piazza, fantastic kind of high-profile location. But we just got in trouble with the British Library this morning because we've got this great big Startup Britain bus that's parked up at the library, which the bus has been on tour for a month. We've been on the road for 4 weeks. We've visited 40 universities and further education colleges, meeting 10,000 young people to encourage them to be their own boss. And it's the final day of the month-long tour today. Startup Day, very exciting. We've got the BBC News, CNBC, James Caan, Luke Johnson, business minister is on board now. Anyway, we got a young startup, which I don't know if you've come across this company, called Small Car, Big City. Brilliant business, and in fact I feel as if I should promote them because of the slight error we had with them this morning. They give tours of London in classic minis. Beautiful little business. So we said to them, can you bring your classic minis and surround the bus with your minis? So they turned up at British Library this morning and within 3 minutes were thrown off the premises. So we've got very grumpy people at British Library. So I was on the bus this morning and will shuttle back there shortly, but a delight to be here with you, fashion entrepreneurs. I hear that the audience is split between those who are starting and those who are growing a business. So what I did want to talk about, I've got about 20 minutes to have a chat with you. What I want to talk about is really things that we're seeing successful small businesses follow in terms of how they're successfully growing. And as I say, I'm kind of involved with this campaign called Startup Britain. So I'm getting to see, in fact, just this morning, brilliant businesses. It makes me feel terribly old. I am 40, even though I did just get in a cab and relate this story to a cabbie who beautifully, for London cabbies, said, love, I don't know if the sun's shining in the right direction today, but you don't look your age. Oh. Yes, I know, love him, made me the biggest smile of the day. But I, on the bus this morning with 20 and 21-year-olds who were starting amazing businesses, a young team started a business called Stag Music, where they're representing talent. And I have just met a man out here. Is he in the room? Loot Box. Oh, he's not in the room. Beautiful startup outside, which seems to be changing the face of retail. Record numbers of people are starting a business in Britain at the moment. 488,000 limited companies formed in 2011. I really hope we'll break the 500,000 record this year. So fantastic entrepreneurial attitude in the UK right now. So I see lots of startups through Startup Britain, and through my business, Enterprise Nation, it's more about growing businesses. So I hear a lot from them, I see them, we report on them because we publish books that have got lots of case studies of how businesses grow. So hopefully from that, in terms of the trends that I'm seeing, let me offer a couple of thoughts on what they are doing well. The first thing is, and we did write a book on this actually with this title, is they're doing what we call working 5 to 9. Now, I'm not quite sure if this applies to anybody who's in the room today, but essentially it's about holding onto the day job and building a business at night and weekends. The reason why I didn't think it would apply to anyone today is a Wednesday and you are here. How have you managed to get here out of a day job?
I follow your advice.
Are you having a very long lunch? And you've gone full-time into the business. Brilliant. Okay, which is what we love to see from 5 to 9ers. And we hold events as a company called Startup Saturday. And one of the main reasons we hold it on a Saturday is because we have so many people who come who are 5 to 9ers, who of course have only got the weekend to find out how to start their business. Why is working 5 to 9 so great? Hopefully this lady here would agree with me, is you give yourself the time to build the confidence and the cash flow that you need in the business. Many 5 to 9, the book that we wrote on this came out in 2010, and it profiles 60 5 to 9ers. And of all the 5 to 9ers that I interviewed, their employers pretty much all knew that the person was kind of building a business on the side and was very happy that they were doing so, because you're picking up entrepreneurial skills that your employer's not paying for, and that benefits you in the day job. In fact, actually, one of the lovely stories, I'll still remember him, is a guy who was a lawyer, shipping lawyer, and he was not very happy in his job. So he started on the side a website called leavinglaw.com, because he was like, I'm so miserable, I'm going to start this website called leavinglaw.com. And beautifully, starting the business in his spare time gave him renewed energy for his day job. So he stayed being a shipping lawyer and still runs leavinglaw.com on the side. So slightly kind of bipolar personality anyway, still seems to manage it. So working 5 to 9, great way of getting started. The second thing that we are seeing businesses do beautifully well at the moment, and we're putting lots of energy into making sure this continues to happen, is pop-ups. And I know this is a fashion audience, so hopefully this will resonate well with yourselves. Through the campaign Startup Britain, we were seeing earlier this year, or hearing, lots of people say this is terrible that there's so many empty shops on the high street. And yet we've got 80,000 small businesses who were saying, I'm an online business run from home, I would love to have a retail experience. So we said, right, let's try and leverage this campaign to fill empty shops with small businesses. So I don't know if anyone has been to our shop, but we opened a first pop-up shop in Richmond in late July. It is at 2 Q Road. We have gifts. We've got a theme fortnight at the moment of gifts for him. I think we're on the theme for gifts for her is the next 2 weeks. If you come out of Richmond Station, Pop-Up Britain shop is right opposite you. And when we opened, we had great support from the local MP, the local authority, etc. How it works is 6 small businesses move into the space. They each pay £135 to trade for 2 weeks, so i.e. that's kind of manageable for most small business budgets. They trade, they move out, and then another 6 businesses move in. And fashion has been one of our best-selling categories in the shop. I mean, it's Richmond, so it helps because you're in a very affluent area. But we had 1 week where we did, during London Fashion Week, we did a luxury fashion theme in the shop. And I don't know if anyone knows this business. Does anyone know the business called myedo.co.uk? Oh, okay, well, check him out. But it's run by a guy called Eduardo, who has been our highest salesperson in the shop. So he paid £135 to be in there for 2 weeks. He sells beautiful Italian menswear. And he sold about £4,500 worth of stuff in the 2 weeks of trading, and is now looking to potentially open a full-time shop in Richmond. So the pop-up experience for small businesses has been phenomenal, because what we've seen is small businesses have come into the shop. They've been able to test new markets, they've met customers face-to-face, they've tested out their pricing. We've had one business who's actually changed their pricing based on feedback they were getting from customers coming in, and it's all very affordable. And we'd always said, when we launched Richmond, we said, right, let's trial it for 3 months, let's kind of test it and see how this works, because it is, I don't know if you've done a pop-up, you may have not done a pop-up the way Pop-Up Britain does it, but it's like the retail version of Big Brother. Because we load 6 people into what is quite a small shop. I mean, everyone has a decent amount of space. 6 people who've never met each other before, who on a Sunday night pick up the keys from a previous tenant. They move in, and it's up to them as to how we basically furnish the space, but they dress the space. It's up to them as to how they do joint marketing. And it's kind of incredible that you kind of leave these 6 people and you just hope that they're going to get on with each other. Fortunately, we haven't had any fights. In fact, opposites. We've had quite a few joint ventures that have formed. In our first 2 weeks, we had a company called Tier 1 Clothing who makes shirts. They've now done a deal with a cufflink maker called Maria Allen Jewellery, who was in the shop at the same time. So quite a few of them have done joint ventures. We had a company called Bikini Fling, who sells beautiful bikinis, who did a bikini fashion show in the shop, which I have never seen so many men's faces just go like that. Very small shop, very tall girl with very red hair wearing very skimpy bikinis walking around it. Classic. So very good experience for the small businesses. So we said, right, let's test it to make sure this kind of works for the businesses, works for the landlord, works for the high street. And so we've just been in for 3 months. We've had our lease extended in Richmond, so we're going to be staying on until the end of January. But now we're embarking on a national scale-out of shops. So tomorrow we open our next pop-up in Somerset House, which again is going to have a fashion theme. And I don't know if you've been to Somerset House over the past couple of days, but Skate has just opened. So because of Skate, they get thousands of people every day to come skating. So the whole west wing of Somerset House has just been opened and turned into a pop-up for the same 7 weeks that Skate is on. So Pop-Up Britain is in there with my Eduardo, he's kind of back with us with other fashion providers. We're about to open in Victoria, we're opening a shop in Chiswick, we're opening shops in Shropshire. And the Victoria shop we're opening, there's a guy called Minister for High Streets called Mark Prisk, and he's invited us into Victoria to open a pop-up in his department building. So it's called Department for Community and Local Government. So we're opening a pop-up shop in there that then will be a showcase for town teams around the UK to show how pop-ups can bring the high street to life. So for small businesses, it's great because it's a low-cost, low-risk way of getting onto the high street. The landlords are happy because we pay a contribution to their rent. And the high street, it's great because it's giving people a reason to come onto the high street because you're going to all the events in it. So on the Startup Britain site, you can see our expansion plan, and we're looking to have 50 shops by mid-2013. So the idea is you as small businesses can come onto the Pop-Up Britain website, which launched on the 12th of December, and you can book into pop-ups around the UK to test new markets. So pop-ups is something that we're seeing that's kind of really popular. Going global is another fantastic trend that we are seeing in the small business world, again, particularly for fashion. Maybe I don't need to tell you that we have a slightly flat domestic market at the moment, but what we do have as small businesses is 1.2 billion customers who are online, increasingly affluent and aspirational customers who are looking for British goods. Because I think the Olympics, and you can see this all over here, I guess, is lots of people want British goods. And as a company, we produce a startup kit, and I've just been profiling the case studies going in it, and there's a lovely lady called Sally Geyer who has started a business called Cambridge Raincoat Company. So she's designed a raincoat, which is a long-length raincoat, and she's very much extolling the benefits of the fact it was designed in Cambridge, and she is selling all over the world. And of course, what helps us do this is websites. I know ASOS Marketplace are here today, but also sites like eBay Fashion. You probably know that eBay are putting huge amounts of investment in building up their fashion line. And the benefit of putting your goods on eBay is they're attracting a worldwide audience. Etsy.com, of course, I'm sure you know and love, is for maybe kind of smaller sort of fashion items. Alibaba.com, which is China's largest trading website, is an amazing place to source supplies from Asia, but also to sell back to the rest of the world. So there's some really powerful sales platforms that you can use to get your goods to market. But of course, social media, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn are great ways of also getting your brand known. And actually, I don't mean to keep on going on about the books that we wrote, but the trends that we see in business, we tend to write books to go with them. That 2011, we brought out a book called Go Global, How to Take Your Business to the World. And the girl who inspired it is a young lady called Emma Henderson, who I met in Scotland. And she just graduated from college doing print screen design. And so she was importing fair trade bags from India, applying a beautiful print screen design, uploading her bags to Etsy and selling to the US. And she was blogging about this, so she got picked up by Country Living magazine in the US, who then featured her in their kind of one of their magazine pages. She then got a deal with Anthropology through Etsy. She's kind of selling all over the place, and she was doing this all from her spare room. So just quite incredible in terms of how technology and sales platforms mean that you can stay home-based, do what you do, focus on what you do best, and yet ship everywhere and have this lovely international customer base. So going global, looking at international markets is a good opportunity. UKTI, dare I? Is there somebody here from UKTI? Oh, that's stunning. Are they sponsors? But there's nobody here. Okay, don't go and speak to UKTI when you... Okay, I'm kidding. Do go and speak to UKTI when going global. And actually, UKTI have just launched a new website called Open to Export, which is focused on helping small businesses go global. So working 5 to 9, doing pop-ups, going global are great things we're seeing these businesses doing. Just a couple more things. One is productizing what you do. And I have a feeling, by the fact you all look amazing in this room, that you're probably kind of quite high fashion. And productizing is maybe not where you want to go, but I just wanted to mention a story of someone who maybe does slightly lower fashion, but she's applied something that I just think is ingenious in business, is a lady who started a business called Rejigged, which is where she takes old garments of clothing, recycles them, and then she makes clothes for kids. Based in Worcestershire, lovely story of she works from the family farm and the kids get involved in the summertime. And she was getting lots of orders, so she'd outsource work to local mums who were helping her make the garments that she was selling. But what she realised, there was a bottleneck in the business, that she was getting lots of orders, but of course the time it takes to make each product was quite time consuming. So she thought, right, I need to kind of package up what I do. So she's just released her first kind of productized version of what she does, which is a tank top in a tin. Where in a tin, a beautifully designed tin actually, she just puts all the base materials for creating a tank top and DIY instructions on how you go about doing it. And I love this on so many levels. She can make more because, of course, it's productizing what she's doing, so she sells at a lower price, but she sells a greater volume. In addition, when the customers buy tank top in a tin, Mum and Jimmy make the tank top together. They then take pictures of Jimmy in the tank top and blog about that and tweet about it and share it with their friends. So you're getting customers to buy your product that's costing you less to produce and selling more of them, and your customers then become your marketing agents because they're telling everybody, look at the experience I had, and I did this with my tank top in a tin, what about yours? So it's good marketing, it's a good way to productize your business, good way to grow profitability. So as I say, may not be right for your business, but I think it's an interesting thing in how small businesses are looking at growing. And therefore the final trend that we are seeing, I feel wrong calling it a trend because it implies then it will stop happening, but the final way in which we're seeing small businesses grow is by what I call, well, outsourcing, where the business owner focuses on what they do best and outsources the rest, so that you can focus on moving quickly, getting into new markets, etc. And one of the greatest examples of this is a company we've profiled for years, actually, is a business called Coco Rose. I don't know if you've come across them. They make beautiful flat ballet pumps. Started by a lady called Janan Leo, who we've profiled in the Working 5 to 9 book, because when we first came across her, she was working at Virgin Rail by day, and she was building Coco Rose at night. And we then profiled her in Go Global, because she's selling all over the world. But what they do, it's now her and her boyfriend who's got involved in the business. And actually, when we work in 5 to 9, the book came out, Sunday Times wanted to do a piece on the whole trend of people working 5 to 9. So they said, who would you recommend as a case study that we could go and interview? So I said, oh, go and interview Janan, because she works at Virgin Rail and she's building this beautiful ballet pump company. So Rachel Bridge, who was the journalist at the time, did this interview, and then Rachel called me and I said, how did the interview go with Janan? And she said, yes, good, but she has some relationship problems. And I said, what on earth? How did you get into that? And there was an issue that Janan was working by day, building the business at night. So, of course, the person who suffered was the boyfriend. So this was fortunately not put in the article, but 2 months later, Janan wrote to me and said, Gareth, my boyfriend, and I thought, oh no, it's going to say, has left me because I'm focused on my business, has left his job to join the business. So it's quite lovely that they kind of now come together, because she essentially said to him, if you want to see me, join the business. So the two of them still run it from what they call the choudoir at the top of their house. And what they're great at doing is focusing on the bit that they do very well, which is the branding and the marketing of the product. They come up with the new product designs and they do the branding and the marketing. What they've outsourced is manufacturing, fulfillment, PR they've outsourced, accounting they've outsourced. So what they've said is, look, we're not trained accountants. It's much better to give this to somebody else who will take 5 minutes rather than us taking 5 hours to do it. They can focus on what they do well. They work with a team of experts and professionals who do their own bits that they do well. And I don't know if you operate your company like this, but tools such as Basecamp, which you can use as online project management, which is perfect to stay in touch now with kind of virtual teams. Well, lots of products, Skype, Google Apps, I could name lots of products that help you do this. So they have benefited, and what it means for them as a company is they can essentially iterate very quickly. They can bring new products to market, they can go into new markets, they can keep their ideas fresh, and they can grow a business while still keeping that business at home. And essentially across all of those factors that we are seeing in terms of how small businesses are growing, so whether it be working 5 to 9, whether it be using powerful platform sites to go global, whether it be productizing what you're doing, whether it be outsourcing to others, what we're seeing as the common characteristics for all small businesses is the businesses that are keeping their overheads low, So they're staying home-based, they're not recruiting a huge amount of people, they're finding experts and working virtually with them. So keeping overheads low, having a global approach, and being able to move at speed, because I think these are the great assets that small businesses have got at the moment. So I hope if you're thinking of starting a business that you will be inspired by Startup Day to do so today. And if so, please tweet it with the hashtag Startup Day, so say you're going to start. And if you have a business that you're growing, please consider a pop-up. Please look at international markets. And please have a think about focusing on what you do best and outsourcing the rest. And hopefully I haven't gone too much over time. Thank you.
Not at all. I love how practical that was. It was brilliant. We've got time for one
question.
One question, like the essential question. You know, the thing that hasn't been asked.
Is it, are you fulfilled?
No. It's, have you still got spaces left at Somerset House for the pop-up?
Was that your question as well? Okay, so we filled the first 2 weeks, I think, but if you go, but then we're there for 7 weeks. So I think we're doing it 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 weeks. Possibly for that interim 3 weeks, we may have a couple of spaces. But if you go on to startupbritain.co/high street, you will see everything.
I've just tweeted it. So,
okay.
I've just put the link out there.
Which actually, I'm really sorry, not to gab on, but what you have reminded me is that when we launched Startup High Street in July, the pop-up shops, which are very on my mind at the moment, because we're opening lots, but another aspect of what we did is something called Pitch Up, whereby we have introduced a number of companies to John Lewis buyers. So we did a first round, 12th of October, 12 businesses met John Lewis buyers, one of which was a fashion business called Surplus Clothing. And I don't know if I'm allowed to... Does anyone know him? Yeah. Oh, I'm not going to say then what I was just about to say. But if you would like...
He may have done really well.
Well, he may have done really well. So if you would like to pitch to John Lewis buyers, John Lewis have agreed to do that every 6 months with us now. So we've now opened applications for the next session with John Lewis buyers. So again, if you go on startupbritain.co/high street, you can book .co. This is where I should have had slides.
Google on your phone.
Yeah.
Startup Britain.
High Street.
I think that was so quick. You could maybe do one more. See, that was the. Oh, you were so good that you answered all.
Everyone is fulfilled. Oh, bless you. Thank you for reading it. Oh, sorry.
It's not really a question, but I have been into your store in Richmond, and it was good. I enjoyed it.
Good. Which week did you go in? Who were the tenants?
Maybe about a month and a half ago, probably.
Okay.
And there was quite a few different things in there, but it was a good experience. So yeah.
And someone in here walks past it every day and says also it's good as well. I was noting.
Hey, yes, but have you been in to buy? Oh, come on. Do you know, we've had quite a few tweets today saying people on Startup Day will buy from a startup. So it's please do go in and purchase something. But no, lovely tenants. Thank you.
Brilliant. Emma, thank you so much.